Everyone, I am your Heavenly Father. You are watching the live stream. We are going to get going right away here. This is President Trump on life and the pursuit of Levin. I don't. It's Mark Levin or Mike Levin or something. And this was recorded on Thursday, so this is before the passing of Justice Ginsburg. Let's get right into it. Good to see everybody here. Okay, and I don't know whether you can hear me or not there. There you are. Welcome, everyone. There may have been a gap there without volume, in which case, I hope you enjoyed your moment of silence. It was in honor of Justice Ginsburg. That is the story that I am sticking to. So this was recorded on Thursday, before the passing of Justice Ginsburg. So Trump will not be answering any questions on this. Is Mark Levin there on the Fox and Friends TV. So we'll take a look at this. We will go from here. Good to see everybody in here. Hi, Allison. Hi, Marcy. Hi, LP. LP just found my channel this evening. I've been watching previous snips of previous videos. Thanks for doing this, LP. Thank you for being here. You're welcome to the crowd. If other people would like to chat along with LP and the others, they call themselves the Kevinly family. You are more than welcome. Best place to do it is on YouTube, youtube.com/KevinlyFather. I see a bunch of people are watching on Twitter and Twitch as well. I don't know if anyone's chats are coming through on from Twitter. Sometimes the chat window works really well, sometimes it doesn't. So if you're on Twitter and you're chatting and it's not going through to the window over there, jump onto YouTube. And let us know there. youtube.com/KevinlyFather. If you're on Twitter and you haven't said anything yet, just say hi in the chat room. That way we know that Twitter is working. Twitch, you can go ahead and swear up a storm. Twitch doesn't block anything. So we will go from here. This is, oh, I know this guy's name. I don't know. He just, Dump? Something like dump. Plump Trump. President Plump Trump.
Tell you what I'm not going to do.
Oh, tell us.
I'm not promoting Bob Woodward's book. I'm not promoting any of these books.
Why would you be promoting? But get my face off of his head, for the love of God. New, whatever that thing is, the caricature, drawn by Chris Wilson. So in addition to the 38 cents annual grant Chris brings to the live stream, he also brings his artistic talents, and they are great. Thank you. It looks like my Uncle Charlie, quite frankly. I hope I don't look that old. That's me. That is me. Great job, Chris. Let's see. Linda R. says Trump never answers anything. That is true. Hey, John is on Twitter, so it looks like Twitter is coming through at least sometimes. Kids in the YouTube chat room, if it stops working on the conglomerate chat over here, let me know, because I'll keep checking on the YouTube thing, because I'm not trusting it tonight. It's already misbehaving itself. That is true. Thank you, judges. Let's move on with this. And also, it looks like the Twitch is coming through. Good to see you, 07.
I'm not looking for headlines.
We got to move this. Hold on, we're getting rid. I don't think Chris is watching, so we're gonna insult him without him being here by getting rid of the logo. I love it. Oh, you know what we can do? We're just gonna take this logo and we're gonna shove it right down there. See? That looks okay. That's nice. And hopefully it won't block too much. And if we don't get to see Trump's platform shoes, so be it. I'll tell you if there's anything going on with the kitten heels.
An honest-to-God interview where you can provide information to the...
Kim, you spelt Dems wrong. Dems. The cool thing about it is when it's conservatives, you don't even have to change it. It's just cons.
American people, and differentiate yourself from your opponent. And it may shock the American people to know there's actually 2 candidates in this race.
What?
Press
Hold on. Is someone running against Trump?
Covers you, but they don't much cover Joe Biden very much. I want to start with the vaccine. I'm watching the news coverage.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the media and the Democrats are very hostile to a vaccine. They're very hostile to a vaccine coming out quickly. They're trying to politicize this. The 9 CEOs...
Just to quickly fact check that, the Democrats are not hostile against the idea of a vaccine. Democrats are hostile against the idea of Trump promoting the vaccine and doing so politically. In fact, in the last couple of weeks, it's been turned out that the CDC changed its guidelines for testing, taking away the asymptomatic factor. Was purely political. The scientists at the CDC did not want that done. And of course, there was the fiasco with hydroxychloroquine, chloroquine being approved for emergency use authorization by the FDA, as well as the treatment with plasma being overhyped. Trump and Stephen, I want to call him Stephen Zahn, but that's not his name. Stephen Zahn is awesome. Stephen Hahn is the director of the FDA, and he said, following Trump's lead, that plasma had a 34% effective rate, and it only has 3. He had to later come out and apologize. He didn't have to, but he did, which is strange. I don't know that Hahn and Redfield are long for this administration.
These pharmaceutical companies, including Pfizer, have said, we're not cutting corners, we're following the science. Why do you think there's such hostility from the Democrat Party, from my perspective, in the media, about getting a vaccine?
From his perspective. Like, why throw that in there? You're saying it. This is like in grade 7 when your teacher says, you know what, you don't have to write in my opinion on your essays because you're writing it. We know it's your opinion. In my opinion. Okay, so thanks for that. At least he's not trying to make headlines. By the way, he's been on Fox like 18 times in the last 3 days trying to get people to watch this. He's tweeted out repeatedly before the show, but he's not trying to make headlines. I mean, far be it from Mark Levin to try and make headlines.
Seen in record time.
They want to denigrate it. This started about 3 weeks ago because they started hearing rumors that we were going to have this vaccine in super record time. So instead of saying, wow.
Super record time. It's like a super V. Super vaccine.
Wow, that's great. It's going to save a lot of lives and people are going to be protected. And
it's about time we started saving lives, quite frankly. 200K.
This whole thing will end faster. It's going to end anyway, but it's going to end faster. They started denigrating. I noticed it about 3 weeks. They started denigrating.
Yeah, sometimes people make mistakes with numbers, Sean Johnson. Hold on, because I did tweet something about that. I want you to see it. Lots of people have made mistakes about numbers before, and I'm going to pull something up for you. Joe Biden did say million when it was thousands today, and that happens. People do that. You know, we all make mistakes with numbers. People say, and Trump has done that as well. He's done the millions when it's thousands. I'll show you something else here. Yeah, here we go. I'll show it to you. Stay where you are. Here you go, Sean. People making mistakes with numbers.
Yes. So that's 1,870,000 million tests. So that's 1,870,000 million tests.
That's President Trump, by the way, in case you don't recognize him. 170 million thousands. That, in fact, is not a number. At least Joe got a number. The wrong number. But Trump just makes up his own numbers. So that happened. That's cute, isn't it? It's adorable. He just, oh my God, he thinks he's a person.
Grading it. And the reason they're doing that is because they think I'll get credit if we have a vaccine anywhere near the election, but certainly before the election. But
I'm just, of course, giving Trump a hard time because he's an idiot. But to be fair to him, Joe got the number way off. Of course, Joe claiming that it was 200 million dead from COVID, whereas the president is stalwart in his belief of claiming that it would be close to zero and that it would go away in April. So, potato.
essentially we're there now anyway, and we're ready.
John, welcome to the chat room, John Harold. If you have something substantive to say, then please say it. We're open to discussion, even argument. But just saying Trump rules, it's just, you sound like an idiot. Well, okay. Even people come in here, Biden rules. I give them the same hard time. Say something interesting. Be funny. Be clever. If you have a brain, use it.
To distribute very rapidly. So what they're doing is trying to make it like, that's not such a big deal, when actually it's one of the greatest things that anyone's done. And I'm not saying me, I'm saying anyone. It's so incredible, it's so important. And they've done it in record time. If this were a typical administration, this vaccine wouldn't be ready.
Yeah, I know, Sean. Yeah, and I could show you time after time after time that Trump has done mistakes with numbers. That's what he does. Plus, his prediction of numbers is terrible. Again, I give you close to zero. I give you right now, we're at 6. Maybe it'll get to more. Maybe it'll get to less.
For 2 or 3 years because of the FDA process. I have totally changed the FDA process. Same safety.
Astrid, I did not vote for Hillary Clinton. I am not a leftist. I do use Snopes because it's a viable source of facts. We've had David Mickelson, the founder of Snopes. In fact, he may be in the room right now on the show. So if you want to say hi to David, he's right here. He's the guy behind Snopes, the oldest fact-checking organization on the web. He might be in this very room right now if you have something to say to him. They have been accused of being leftist and rightist. Constantly, by both sides. Nobody likes being fact-checked, which is why we're here. I just go by the facts.
But the speed is from a different world, and we should have the vaccine approved very soon, up and approved. Plus, we have many companies doing it, great companies, Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, Moderna.
Moderna? Where's Moderna? It used to be Moderna. Now it's Moderna. They took our germs. Moderna took our vaccines.
We have many companies.
David is in the room. So if somebody has a question for Snopes, David is in the chat room. That is the actual David Mickelson from Snopes. So if you have questions for Snopes, he's here. And if he feels like it, he can answer.
He's doing it. And almost all of them are having.
By the way, during our interview with David, one of the most fascinating things to whomever was talking, was it Astrid or somebody? I don't want to get that incorrect. Somebody fact check me on that. If you're even still here, usually the bots, the comrades come in and they're gone. By the way, David, no talk of football right now. We are there are people who record games throughout the day, and we don't want it to. No spoilers. We can talk football tomorrow if you want to.
They so far seemingly very good.
Oh, sorry. As I was saying, Chris, I had something about NARS in the. I'll make a joke about it later, but I had it. I put it on the stream, this thing, crawl. I put it on the crawl, but I thought it was more important to go back and show what he said about RGB a while ago, or RBG. I'm down with RBG. Yeah, you know me. April says, you don't seem to understand how could he... You don't seem to understand how could be loved by his support. You don't seem to understand how could be loved by his supporter. You don't seem to understand how could be loved by his... So we get a lot of folks in here, basically we call them bots, but they're not bots. They're human beings. Clearly, April speaks English as a second language. April, if you're being paid by somebody, as we know is happening, the Russians are actively trying to interfere with this election on social media. Fascinating stuff, guys. Oh, but when I'm saying April, just, I mean, if that's going to be the case, go away. And if I got to say this, though, April, if English is your second language, if you're Russian or Macedonian, whatever it is, and you're just learning English, or you're new in this country, maybe you are here and you're just learning English, I don't mean to poke fun at you, but you have to have subjects in your sentences. That's how English works. And I only speak one language, so if you've got 2 or 3 or 4, whatever you got, good for you. God bless you. Let's see.
Result.
Still didn't finish the story about David. I don't think we're going to get finished with the story about David. Here's the thing. David, with the Snopes, he does not like fact-checking politics. It's not something, he'd rather be checking all the other cool stuff, like Disney rumors and Coca-Cola and all the other good fact checks that come up. But for whatever reason, Trump comes along and they spend half their time chasing Trump lies.
They're in phase 3 trial. That means we're right at the end of the process. Really looking good and could be really early. And so all of a sudden, instead of saying, wow, this is great news, we're going to have the vaccine early, they're saying, oh, the vaccine's coming out too soon, it's going to be unsafe, it's going to be all of these things. Has nothing to do with the safety. These are great companies. They're not going to put themselves on the line. They would have tremendous liability. So,
especially Moderna.
So it's a tremendous thing that they've done and that we've...
You know who runs Moderna? It's the guy who used to sing for REO Speedwagon. I tell myself that I can't go on forever. I say there is no reason for my fear. But I feel so secure when we're together. CEO and head of Moderna. I would just like to thank President Trump.
Well done.
I apologize to everyone. Hopefully the volume, hopefully we're death circles. Hopefully nothing went through on that. That was my RGB Speedwagon.
Together, then we're ready to distribute it very quickly. And we'll do our senior citizens first, the most vulnerable.
Thank you. Yeah, Colleen, attacked by Kevin. Yes. What's funny is sometimes if I am singing, I'll be like recording myself and I'll listen to myself and I'll be like, oh my God, that was so REO. Because I will sometimes, we do the at the end of lines.
As you can imagine, because they're really, as it turns out, we know the disease now, the most vulnerable are senior citizens by far, especially if they have a problem with the heart or if they have diabetes or something, those two in particular. And we'll take care of people. And you would think they'd be happy and thrilled and jumping up and down. Instead, it's just a terrible situation between that, the fake ballots, all of the different things that are going, this whole ballot thing, I call it unsolicited ballots. They used to say universal, but nobody knows what that means.
Because nobody said it. That's why no one used to say that. You made that up. What else did he call it? Real ballots? Real-time ballots? Something like that. I don't even remember. You just make stuff up. He's funny. 1,000 millions.
Unsolicited, meaning people didn't solicit these ballots. People are saying, hey.
I can't read the chat the whole time, guys. I'm trying to listen to Trump. But if somebody wants to tell me what April was saying, or April, if you want to tell me what you're trying to ask, if it's a serious question, I can address it.
What's going on? I just got a whole patch of ballots. I have no idea who they're sending them to. They're sending...
It's not true. They're sending them to active registered voters. In fact, I just checked in on my own daughter, currently listed as inactive because we left California for Washington, came back to California. She has to now re-register. I already re-registered in California. Because she doesn't have a driver's license, there's no signature on file from the driver's license, so we have to re-register with an affidavit. It's a big deal. Anyway, I checked. I asked. She's not listed as an active voter because we left the state, and now we're back. Will she get a ballot? And we were told no, she won't get a ballot unless she fills out the affidavit and sent it in, because we don't send ballots to inactive voters. Imagine that.
For the wrong people. The military got ballots, and they put my name, and I think they put Mike Pence with somebody else. They had it all separated. It's so messed up, you have no idea.
Hey, me. Welcome to the chat room. Good question. Fact check. And you are what authority? I'm no authority. I will show you. I will show you the figures. Okay? There's stuff that I know too, and there's stuff we cover all the time. Please go ahead and subscribe at youtube.com/KevinLeeFather. Turn on the little bell, hit the bell, you'll get alerts, and that way you can kind of catch up with the rest of us. The rest of the people in the chat room, most of them have seen this many, many times, and I've shown them many, many times. I don't like to explain every single thing every time because it would take forever, trust me, and eventually, and I'm just saying, don't believe me. Do not believe me. Verify whatever I say for yourself. Does REO end their phrasing sometimes with a hard "er"? Check it out for yourself.
And they know it. They know it. They want it to be
No true. I love it. That's going on the T-shirt. It's gonna be this one. It's gonna be Chris's little caricature, and then on the back it'll just say "No true." I like that.
mess. And it's very
Thank you, me.
sad to
Put your address in the chat room and I'll send you a T-shirt. Like I'm ever going to send out T-shirts. Let's be honest, guys.
see.
I want to get back to that, but one of the things that troubles me also
Oh dear.
is
He's often troubled. Mark really needs to get himself a therapist because he's troubled frequently.
part of the campaign effort by the Harris-Biden administration, as I understand it. By that campaign,
Harris Biden. Which is funny because they're trying to use that as a dig, but Biden and the campaign have called it the Harris Biden administration. Because you know what? It doesn't make any difference, but it's nice. You put the vice president's name first. You put the woman's name first. Isn't that nice? But they're using it as a dig. It's like, it would be like yelling at Anderson Cooper, "You're gay!" Yeah. All my favorite newscasters are gay.
to blame you for deaths that result.
What was that in response to?
But one of the things that troubles me also
Yeah.
is it's part of the campaign effort by the Harris-Biden administration, as I understand it. By that campaign, to blame you for deaths
He liked the reference to Harris Biden campaign. He thought that was funny.
that result from this virus. Now, I have here memos that went out in March in New York, in Michigan, in New Jersey, in other states, big population states.
Right.
He's his second cousin to Susan Collins.
The governors ordered
Yep. Yes.
coronavirus positive
Hold on.
patients.
They're talking coronavirus.
Here.
Let's go back here. Okay.
Memos that went out in March in New York, in Michigan, in New Jersey, in other states, big population states,
Right.
where the governors ordered coronavirus positive patients into nursing homes, into assisted living homes. You didn't order that. They ordered it. The last data I saw says over 40% of the deaths have resulted from that. Has Joe Biden criticized?
Whoa. Time out. But I'm sorry, Mr. Levin. That is completely disingenuous. No. 40% of coronavirus deaths, as of recently, have resulted from old folks' homes. Not from the governor sending people to old folks' homes. Yes, in some states, months ago, some governors sent people back to old folks or assisted living homes because the FDA was recommending that be the steps that were taken at the time. Plus, as we know now, it was a mistake. It was a terrible mistake. But that did not make 40% of the deaths happen. That did not spur on the deaths, 40% of all the deaths. No, 40% of all the deaths, whether sent back to the nursing home or beginning in the nursing home, are taking place or have taken place in nursing homes. And state by state, it's all over the board. New Hampshire is the highest state. 81% of the deaths in New Hampshire are from nursing homes. And who's in charge there? Sununu. He's a Republican. That absolutely, why? Completely, and this is what Levin does. It's a misdirection. He's a magician with the words. He'll show you this, and but where is, the rabbit's coming out of the hat here. That's completely disingenuous. Shame on you, Mark Levin. He's smart, too. He's way too intelligent to know that he's not doing that. He's doing it on purpose. Stop lying to the American people, Mark. Is his name even Mark? Is it Mike Levin? Like, I have no idea. Levin. Oh, I'm just embarrassed for you, my friend. Just embarrassed. 40%. In New York, Governor Cuomo sent people back to assisted living homes from the hospitals. Sent them back to assisted living homes, to nursing homes. That resulted, theoretically, between 6,000 and 11,000 deaths. This will all be worked out at some point, and he will be investigated, etc. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens with all of that, as Trump likes to say. But 40% of all deaths are not because the governors sent people back to the nursing homes. I'm sorry, but 11,000 is not 40% of 200,000. Jesus Christ, that's embarrassing. But here's the problem. You've got 30 to 40% of the U.S. population that lives in this bubble. And they hear things like that, and they're not discerning enough to find the difference. Anyway,
a single one of those governors has Joe Biden criticized.
It's Mark, not Mark. Oh my God, Chris.
Criticized that policy at all?
Look, you know it, and I know it.
What?
Joe doesn't know he's alive. If you asked him that question
So Joe's not responsible for his behavior. Okay, cool.
without teleprompters, I don't think he could answer.
So setting up your opponent before he doesn't even know he's alive. And then he does a speech, and the speech is okay at the DNC, and he gets rave reviews because you're setting the bar so low, Trump. Come on. Like, is he going to bring that out at the debates? I hope he does. You don't even know you're alive. And what Biden should do there is just like, wait, I'm alive right now? Oh my God, it's a miracle. Come on, man.
To the question. And it's a sad thing that's going on. The whole thing is a sad thing.
Yeah.
And you said it before. The Harris-Biden administration. Who would ever say such a thing?
That's fine. That'd be fine.
I mean, I've been here for quite a while now, almost 4 years, if you can believe it. I never said the Pence-Trump administration. You don't say that. It's like so unnatural. Who would say what he said? You would think it's impossible unless there's something wrong. It was compounded when she went out and said she puts her name first. She's always putting her name first. By the way, she's the most liberal person in the Senate. We've got the most liberal.
That is correct. And the reason that she's we'll get into it later.
Person in the Senate. So it's a sad thing that's going on, and hopefully.
This has probably gotten out on one of the Levin chains or chat rooms or whatever. This is to be expected. He has an incredibly loyal following of people that don't think for themselves. It's sad, really.
We're going to have a big victory, and I think when we have the victory, it's going to calm down because they're getting tired of losing. We've been beating them at every front, and they're getting tired of losing. But it's going to be an interesting period of time.
Welcome to the chat room, the great one. Thank you for chatting, by the way. Every time you chat, I get money, so I appreciate that. If you have something interesting to say, please do so. Like liberalism is a mental disorder, like show some evidence. Tell us why. Tell us what you think. Use your brain. Do some reasoning, and then we can have a discussion. Susie, you can't tell the future. I can't tell the future. He might win. Last time I thought he would win. I didn't vote for Hillary. I thought Trump was going to win. He did win. Okay, now we know that. I don't see him winning again. I don't think there's a shot right now. Now, things could change, but tell us why. Use your brain, use your words, do some reasoning. Well, yeah, there was lots and lots of collusion, Sean. I mean, that's been proven. It's like, just in the Mueller report, there's over 100 incidents of collusion. Now, here's the thing. There's collusion and there's conspiracy. So if you're talking about collusion, it always makes me laugh because that's not a crime. You can collude with somebody as much as you want, and the Trump organization did so. Like, what? Did they conspire? We don't know because they deleted emails and texts and they encrypted and they pled the fifth. Page 10 of the Mueller report. Again, don't believe me. If you're joining us for the first time, don't believe me. Fact check me. Go read the Mueller report, page 10, and in there it will tell you that Trump's organization, I shouldn't say the organization, Trump's campaign deleted and encrypted and pled the fifth.
I do think, and I go back to it all the time because I go to the different states. We go to Michigan, we go to Ohio, we go to every state, but the states where they have the ballots, which is particularly Pennsylvania.
Danielle, by the way, if you feel like it, do your thing. Get them out. It's up to you. Yeah, clear the furniture. Have fun with it.
And Nevada.
Great one. Good for you. The Daily Show, TDS. Love that show. Trevor Noah is great. Boy, I miss Jon Stewart. But thank you for promoting The Daily Show. Great one. Everyone should watch The Daily Show.
In North Carolina.
The Daily Show is real. Absolutely great one.
They have this whole tremendous amounts of ballots piling in. Nobody knows where they're being sent.
I'm sorry, the great one. For a minute there, I thought you were an idiot. But yeah, no, The Daily Show is absolutely real.
I don't think the senders know, or maybe even worse, they probably do know. I think that's going to cause a tremendous disruption.
Sean, we don't know that the Russians changed the vote. No, we don't know that. But you just said collusion. I mean, we know that they colluded with Russia. I mean, that's absolutely... The Senate, Republican Senate, investigated this and found that, for example, information was being traded between Paul Manafort, who was Trump's campaign manager, and Russian intelligence. We know that. That's in black and white. That's the Republican Senate. And that information include user data. And the user data, for example, said, well, this person lives here. It probably your information if you're in this country. Unlikely. This information was here. This person is this color. And this person has these accounts on Facebook and Instagram, etc. And then the Russians use that information to dissuade those people from voting one way or the other. And that's really what won the election. Yeah, John was great. I do miss Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart is out there petitioning for soldiers who have been been affected by the burning of garbage while overseas on duty. What they do in the military in many places, they'll just dig a huge hole, acres long, throw their garbage, their trash, their sewage in there, and then they put aviation fuel over it, and they just burn it. They burn their trash. And apparently that has long-term health effects. And Jon Stewart is now trying to get our veterans covered. I really wish we would treat our veterans better. If they're sick, take care of them. And that goes for anybody in the country. But for the love of God, can we start taking care of our veterans? It shouldn't be so hard. Jon Stewart shouldn't have to get involved.
On November 3rd.
Let me get into this with you, the mail-in ballots in the states, because I've looked at this over the years.
How does it, Paul, you're saying Paul Manafort was indicted on fraud charges in 2012? That is incorrect.
Even before now. Notice the push for mail-in ballots started in about April.
Right.
All of a sudden, mail-in ballots, that's the gold standard. Now we know state from state from state. Many of them.
What does that mean, state from state from state? Is that a dialect? Is that regional? What does that mean, state from state from state? Has anyone ever heard anybody talk like that before? Maybe. And I'm just asking because I'm curious about regional dialects. Is that something that people say? And if they do say it where you are, tell me where you are.
Have never experienced it. Many of them have never experienced the number. The states can't handle it. So here's my theory. Let me get your thoughts on this.
Oh yeah.
Election night comes.
Yeah.
And you're the winner. And they're going to say, no, he's not the winner. They're going to bring these lawsuits on the mail-in ballots. We saw them do this in California and other places.
Absolutely.
Election night, let's say you're behind and you say, wait a minute, we've got millions of ballots out there. You guys put this process in place. Now we want to wait and see. Then they're going to call you a dictator. So either way, they seem to be setting up a narrative. But aren't they basic?
Oh, they say that, state from state from state? Thank you, Alejandro. I appreciate that. So it's like a Midwestern thing, state, from this, from this, from this, from this, when you're doing comparisons. I've never heard it before. And I've spent some time in Kansas.
Undermining the integrity of the electoral process.
Look, they know it doesn't work because there have been many races using this over the last 14, 15 months. And I heard there were...
And there have been thousands of races over the last 30 years that use all mail. In fact, there have been probably not 100,000 races, but again, thousands of races for the last X number of years, 200 years, using the United States Postal Service. That's how people vote. It's okay.
Was one yesterday?
Is it going to take time to count the ballots? Yeah, of course it's going to take time to count the ballots. What we should be doing is, as soon as mail-in voting starts, is to allow those ballots to be counted in advance of election night, so that when election night comes, boom, they release that information at 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. or whatever it is. And that should be, that it shouldn't even be a question. Both parties should want that. They don't. I don't understand the logic. Oh no, say the Republicans. Oh, we need the election results immediately. We need them immediately. The Republicans, by the way, have always been in favor of absentee ballots. They always have been. But now that Trump is against them, then they're like, no, we don't want to. So, anyway.
Today or the day before yesterday, the ballots are so mixed up. They have millions of ballots going out on little races like in New York, or the one in Paterson, New Jersey, or Virginia, or many other locations, and we're now finding out about the one from over the last couple of days.
Which one? Which one is he talking about? Has anyone heard of some kind of election fraud or something in the last couple of days? He keeps mentioning this, and I think he said Pennsylvania, but I don't know what he's talking about. I haven't seen any coverage of it whatsoever. And when this happens, boy, it gets coverage.
We're talking about numbers like 30% and 40% off. We're not talking 1%, which is too much, because you can lose by 1%. 1% is a lot. But they're off by 30, 40% sometimes. Ballots are missing, there's fraud. Now they have a new thing where they don't want to verify signatures because that makes it easier, so you don't have to verify a signature. You see that one in Nevada.
No, Nevada, you do have to verify the signature. All they changed in Nevada was that before a ballot is discarded, it has to be verified twice by two different individuals. So two people have to look at it. And then the voter gets a chance to say, yeah, that was me. And that way, your vote counts. You know, democracy. But Trump has it completely wrong, because Trump has a comprehension issue. In fact, I hesitate to even say that Trump has comprehension of any kind. He is, when it comes right down to it, he's a simpleton.
It's a very tough...
It looks like I'm just, again, I can't read every message. April, if I was too hard on you, I apologize. We get a lot of people in here that do not speak English very well, and are specifically sent in here to target this conversation and try and distract it. So I've seen a couple of people saying, I don't know if April, if you're even here. There you go. April, if you want to be part of the conversation, welcome. If I was too hard on you, I apologize. Mea culpa.
Situation. I will tell you this. You go...
Surely Trump is not smarter than me. Hold on. Since we have so many of you in here, I want you guys to watch this. I haven't played this in a while. This is one of my favorite Trump clips. I'm just gonna play it. Hold on. I gotta find it here, because usually I have this ready to go, but I got football to watch, people. So I didn't want to spend much time doing this tonight. Why is it? I don't know that my computer is gonna cooperate. Give me a second. Oh, there it is. Okay. Hold on. Let's do this. I'm going to pull something up here. What I do is I like to have some clips of the stuff that I'm talking about, because I don't want you guys to trust me until I've fact-checked a few things for you and you've verified them for yourself. This is one of my favorite Trump clips of all time. Some of you have seen this before. Hold on. Stop the chat. Stop the chat. Someone named Deborah came in here. Deborah Beach says there's a difference between requesting an absentee ballot, which Republicans are okay with, and mailing out entire voter rolls, which is ripe for fraud. Deborah, tell me why it's ripe for fraud. I've yet to get a decent answer on that. Because that's been happening in Washington, Utah, Colorado, Hawaii. I mean, red state Utah has done it. And for whatever reason, they all have lower fraud incidents than other states. So please, tell me. But first, for those of you who are big Trump fans and think that he's smart, watch this. And if you don't get it, if you don't understand it, why he has a comprehension issue, God bless you. That's all I can say. Wait a minute. Are there two Dianes? Did I get that wrong? Or one's Deborah, one's Diane. Tell me why ballot harvesting is right. Again, ballot harvesting is just gathering ballots. Give me your ballots, I'll go drop them in the ballot box. Which is fine. In some states, you're not allowed to do that. Some states you are. The reason you are in some states is because there's nothing inherently fraudulent about bringing somebody else's ballot to the ballot box. Now, when I vote, I will, if my daughter's not with me, I will grab her ballot, and the neighborhood has several people that I know. I'll say, hey, did you guys get your ballots? Give me your ballots. I'll take them in for you. If it's legal in this state. And that's not fraud. So ballot harvesting is off the table. So it's not... Tell me why ballot harvesting is so bad, and I'll let you know. But again, ballot harvesting... which makes it sound great, because when I hear harvest, I think Thanksgiving. Stuff me up, man. I am all about harvesting. Anyway, back to Trump here. This is Donald Trump in the Oval Office.
George W. Bush said the reason the Oval Office is around is there are no
You can't hear
corners
it. You can't see it. Hold on. Sometimes the computer gets reset. I want to play this for you, and I want you guys to see it. This is Donald Trump, President Donald Trump. He's got a very big brain and all the best words. Here he is.
George W. Bush said the reason the Oval Office is around is there are no corners you can hide in.
Well, there's truth to that. There is truth to that. There are certainly no corners. And you look, there's a certain openness, but there's nobody out there. You know, there is an openness, but I've never seen anybody out there, actually, as you could imagine.
But what he meant was it all comes back to you.
Sure.
I think we just had a very minor aftershock to the earthquake. I'm in Los Angeles. And I think we did. Very minor one, if we did have one. I'm about 3 kilometers from the epicenter of the last one, so I don't see my studio lights swinging, so I think we're okay. But it was just very minor, and it could have been, I don't know, maybe I've got gas. But there it is. I'm sorry, who came up with that saying? Who said that?
George W. Bush said the reason the Oval Office...
George W. Bush. This man is too stupid to understand a metaphor from George W. He is in top 10 stupidest people on the planet. I mean, no doubt. If you can't get a George W. metaphor, oh my God. Wow. That's one of my favorite clips. Let's see. I want to hold on. Let me check to see if I missed anybody telling me why ballot harvesting was so bad. Yeah. All right, moving on. Let's go back to Levin here. That's one of my favorite clips. Oh, and then he's called out on that. Hold on. I'll show you the aftermath of that. He goes back to his desk. He gets upset because he's called out on that. And he's like, oh, yeah. Oh, I know that. And then he goes back to his desk. Hold on. Here he is.
I have my own opinions. You can have your own opinions.
But I want to know your opinions. You're the President of the United States.
It's enough. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And now he pretends to look busy. Oh, I got papers. Oh, I'm gonna be like. And right now, you know, the sound guy's like, sir, you've got our microphone. We're gonna need that. I gotta play the no corners again.
George W. Bush said the reason the Oval Office is around is there are no corners you can hide in.
Well, there's truth to that. There is truth to that. There are certainly no corners. And
he takes it literally.
But there's nobody out there.
He takes it literally. He thinks he's talking about a shooter.
You know, there is an openness, but I've never seen anybody out there, actually, as you can imagine.
But what he meant was it all comes back to you.
Sure. Doesn't even wait for the explanation of what the metaphor actually means. Oh yeah, I knew that. I was joking with you. Anyway, I'm very busy. I got papers. Very busy. Kids.
Well, you look at these governors and you look at, I mean, I don't want to insult anybody, but take a look at some of these governors that are in charge of the ballots. Beyond partisan. in many cases, political hacks. And it's going to be a very sad day. Look.
Guys, too much going on in the chat room for me to respond to everybody in there. But just look up voter fraud by state, and you'll see that the mail-in ballot states have far less voter fraud. Here's the thing about mail-in fraud. Really easy to catch. And here's why. When the state sends you out a ballot, let's say, the ballot has a security code, a barcode on the inside. It also has a security code on the envelope that you mail it back. Two different security codes. Those security codes are both scanned by computers, and they have to match the ones generated by the state itself and or county. Then, of course, your signature has to match, right? When you go in to vote, in many states, you don't need ID. In every state, if you're a senior or somebody else that may have difficulty providing ID, you don't have to. There's not a single state. If I go in to vote in, I think Alabama was the last place. Now, they have voter ID laws. Could have been Georgia. It was either Alabama or Georgia. I looked it up a couple of months back. If I just say I'm a senior and I don't have any ID, oh, well, here you go, sir. What was your name? Great. Go ahead and vote. No barcodes. I could just say I'm my grandmother. Go vote. You know, because I'm a millennial. Anyway, so mail-in ballots, far more secure. Far more secure. They have to know where you live. It has to get to you. You have to take it out of your mailbox. And for someone to steal it out of your mailbox and sign your name, it's not going to work. How are they going to know your signature?
People should go. Now, if they have an absentee ballot or, I call it a solicited ballot, where I like the word solicited, unsolicited, because people understand it. But you have a solicited ballot or an absentee.
When you register to vote, you're soliciting a ballot. That's how that works. You have to register to vote in all 50 states.
Absentee ballot, that's good because you request a ballot.
So stop geo-engineering. Here's what we like to do in our chat room. We like to be smart. So just saying mail-in ballot voting disenfranchises voter, tell us why. Tell us why. It enfranchises in all 5 states where it is has been a constant for years. Washington, Oregon, Colorado, Hawaii, Utah. It has franchised voters. It has increased voter participation because it's so much easier than going down there and standing in the polls, especially during COVID, which hasn't happened yet. I get that. But yeah, no, more people vote with, just tell us how. Trump loves solicitation. I'm thinking of making a videotape. Why don't you come up to my hotel?
Ballot gets sent to you, you send it back. You have a very good chance that that's going to work out just fine. But where they just dump millions of ballots all over the country, it's not going to work. It's going to be a disaster, and they know it. They know it's not going to work. It doesn't even work when you have 30,000 ballots, and we're talking about many millions of ballots.
It works in Washington, because I lived in Washington for, 23 years or something like that? More than that? 27 years, let's say, altogether. And it worked every single time. And one time my signature didn't really match, and they called me. And I said, no, that's me. And they said, oh, okay, great, thank you very much. And I was able to track my ballot online. It works. Works beautifully. Someone called me desperate or something. What was it? Sounds like Trump is right and this desperate guy is wrong. I am desperate. I am desperate for some leadership in this country. We're all desperate because 200,000 of us are dead now. We didn't have to be. It didn't have to be like this. We could have tested in February like all the other countries. But no, we got a Trump CDC that screwed it up.
It's going to be mayhem. It's going to be bedlam. And this is what they want.
And Mr. President, their schemes are out front. That they've been scheming for months. They've been game playing to make sure that you're not president. They're bragging about it to the newspapers. You see article after article about a coup against you. You see article after article about an insurrection against you. You see the farm team out there burning our cities and so forth and so on, and they're threatening even worse, the never-Trumpers too. What do you say to the American people?
Stein just let us know he's also desperate for leadership in this country. Yeah, absolutely. I thought you were maybe just a bot. earlier. But yeah, thank you, Stein. 100. We are desperate for leadership in this country.
People about what you're seeing with the Democrat Party, the violence, the media kind of censoring on behalf of the
Not
Democrat
kind of.
Party. Very much, yeah.
That's I've never seen anything like it.
What is
it
your
was
message?
bad before.
Yeah.
But it's gotten to a point, they're stone cold dishonest. The New York Times is stone cold dishonest. Although I must tell you, they gave me great credit for the recent deal with Bahrain.
Hold on, because Kevin Lee Kennedy and Kevin Lee Daughter just came in here. I have to open some. Oh, man. Why do they put these on so tightly? This is serious. It's too small to get a grip on. Like my boyfriend. Oh, come on. Get me the pot holders, the plastic pot holders, and bring them to me. One moment. Where's my mouse? There it is.
And UAE and Israel. I couldn't believe it. They gave me unbelievable.
Yeah, at random is correct. If you request a replacement ballot, your original one is now null and void in the system. It will not be counted, and the reason that works so well is because everything is barcoded. Come on! The ones like this.
I couldn't have written it better myself. Tom Friedman gave us great credit. But outside of that, literally one story, and we've done things, I mean, that's very significant, but I've done things possibly much more significant than that. They don't give credit. The Washington Post is a disaster. You can't get a good story. It's disgusting. And then you go to ABC. NBC probably is the worst of all. Comcast.
He just did a town hall on ABC where he said, "Well, I hope there's not racism."
Call it Comcast, not Comcast. It's a con job because they always try and protect their name, like how legitimate they are. NBC is horrible.
What?
CBS is a disaster. And then you go into the real beauties, that MSDNC, as we call it. And
No,
course,
you're wearing
CNN.
this polish.
But at least
This
CNN,
polish
you know
is
where they're
going on your
coming from. You
fingers.
know they're stone
No.
cold dishonest. At least you know that. So it's a
Hold on, I'm
it's
part
a
of the
sad
fake
thing.
nude.
I mean, it's
Someone
a very
just told
sad
me I was
thing.
part of the fake nude.
Fortunately, local press is extremely good. I get great local. Whenever I
If
stop
I
for
was part
speech,
of
I
the
do
fake
one
nude,
or
I'd be
two
making a
local
lot more money.
reporters.
I don't know. I can't do
These are
it.
the
No, I
greatest
can't do it.
stories.
I'm a
It's
failure
like
as a father.
unbelievable. They cover it so.
For all of you insulting my manhood, yes, I could not open fingernail polish. I'm not a man. I am not a man. Wow, we got a lot of guests in here today. I'm part of the fake nude. Actually, I've moved out of the valley to the San Gabriel Valley. In the valley, I would do some fake nude. You know, I'm not proud. We all have to pay our bills. God knows the Trump administration isn't.
So good. Actually, they're almost more enthusiastic than I am, and so we have that. We have some
Congratulations, Stephanie, on being first.
honest media. A Fox is good, but Fox is not what it was. I'll be very honest with you. I don't know. They've become politically correct. You know, they think
He's on Fox right now.
it's wonderful. They have more Democrats on than they have Republicans. I'm
And by practically, he means not at all.
complaining about it all the time. You know, with all of that being said,
Donna Brazil. They have Donna Brazil. Oh, and also, what's his face? Juan.
we're doing much better than we did 4 years ago, and there's much more enthusiasm. You see these boat parades, truck parades, tractor parades. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We have nothing to do with it.
He is correct. I have never seen boat parades like we've seen this year. So that should really swing the vote.
And
We're going to need a bigger vote.
the enthusiasm is much greater, and I think that's because we've really done a great job. You know, we've done things that nobody thought possible.
We'll be right
Oh my God, was that just the first segment? Okay, we're going to start trucking here, guys. We're going to start moving through this. Let's move to the next one here.
placed on the head of American soldiers by Putin.
Okay, it's
Welcome back.
Putin, but Putin. Yep. Some people say Putin. Is that regional as well? Who was in here? Alejandro? Is that in Kansas? Do they say Putin?
Mr. President, let me ask you this. 2 months ago, there was a story the New York Times broke, quote unquote, about bounties placed on the head of American soldiers by Putin. And the general who's looking into this right now said, I have no evidence of this. And we're now tracking every death in Afghanistan. So far, nothing. That went on day after day.
Made up.
The media, the Democrats, they all accused you of being a sellout to Putin and not protecting American troops. The story turns out to be an absolute lie.
It has not been debunked. We know that cash was exchanged between the Russians and the Taliban. We know this. The most it's been debunked is like, well, we're not sure why. David with Snopes, if you're in here and I'm wrong, please correct me on that.
Did anybody call you and apologize?
No, it's all a lie. The worst lie of all is that I'm standing over the grave of soldiers from many years ago, warriors of many years ago, who I cherish, I'm very strong on the military. I love the military and I respect the military.
And he served in the military in Vietnam for 2 years. Oh, no, wait, no, he did not.
And they made up a lie that I call them suckers and losers. It was made up by the stupid magazine, The Atlantic.
Oh, he's saying it now. Because for several of his rallies, he's saying, like, I don't even want to say those words. Something so bad, I don't even want to say it. Suckers, losers, you can say what you didn't say. It's okay to do that. Yeah, Kevin Lee Kitty's very upset about all of this.
Which I don't read, obviously, but most other people don't read it either. And they picked that up, and we disputed it. We have so far 27 people that said it never happened. 27. They have no people. They have unsourced. So
they don't have it unsourced. They have sources. So unsourced means no sources. They have 4 sources that said he said that.
They end up taking that and making a television commercial out of it. But it's very sad to see when they can take something like that, which is a total...
Oh, by the way, we were looking at the 9/11 Biden commercial. It's another commercial, which again doesn't show him standing over graves. Unless... maybe I can find it again. Our own CIA concluded that Russia placed bounties on United States military personnel. So yes. Mark, Levin, you're wrong. Our own CIA has concluded that. David, if you could send me a link, I'd appreciate it.
Lie, which was very successfully disputed. They make a television commercial out of it. And I can't do anything from the standpoint of libel because our libel laws are so pathetic. The lawyers, good lawyers, they say, sir, they'll throw it out even though you have it 100%, they'll throw it out. So they have this commercial. I see it all the time. I see it with the drug companies. So I did something that nobody thought anybody would ever do because the drug companies are the biggest lobby in the country and they're very powerful.
I have the commercial about which he speaks. Let me pull it over and we can watch it together. So this is from the Biden campaign. Here it is. Remember, Trump has said it shows him repeatedly he has said it shows him standing over graves, calling them losers and suckers. This is the actual commercial. What we're looking for here is we're looking for Trump standing over graves. Because even when he's not places, he puts himself in those places. Like, remember when he said he saw Scalia get shot on the baseball practice? At the baseball practice, on the baseball practice field? He said that. He said, I saw it. I was there. He was not. But he likes to inject himself into situations because he's nuts. Side note, you guys are getting a mono feed, but in my headphones I hear this in stereo, and it's wavering back and forth. It's actually a really cool audio mix, so kudos to whoever put this together. It's very disconcerting, and it throws you, like your mind is trying to balance it from the standpoint of mind. So that was the commercial. We just watched it again. Trump is not in it. There is no Trump in it. No Trump standing over the graves. But let's just go back and just confirm, because I think he just said it here as well.
Hundreds of millions. You have to make a television commercial out of it, and I can't do anything. They end up taking that and making a television commercial out of it. But it's very sad to see when they can take something like that, which is a total lie, which was very successfully
Hold on.
warriors of many years ago, who I cherish, who I'm
I think it was way back. Sorry.
About bounties
Yeah.
placed on the head of American soldiers.
He's asked about bounties, and I think he goes right to the television commercial. We're skipping around a bit here, guys. So I've gone back in time about a minute and a half.
By Putin. And the general who's looking into
Tresident. This sounds like treason. Tresident. We know that it was in his presidential daily briefing, February 28th, but he did not read it. This is the same day that he had a meeting with Salt and Pepper at the White House. So that was important.
this right now, said, I have no evidence of this. And
Right.
we're now tracking every death
Thank you, Carl. Yeah, 50 people. I'm excited about that.
in Afghanistan. So far, nothing. That went on.
I mean, I'm up to 4 million views on YouTube, so that's kind of a thing. But 50 people watching this broadcast on a Sunday night during prime football time, that's pretty good. And I'm glad you're in here. The more you chat, the more money I make. So please, everybody, chat away.
Day after day.
Salt and pepper? What did I say? Oh, push it. It's diamond and silk. Did I say salt and pepper?
The media, the Democrats, they all accused you of being a sellout to Putin and not protecting American troops. The story turns out to be an absolute lie.
Yeah.
Did
Well,
anybody
it's all
call you and apologize?
No, it's all a lie. The worst lie of all is that I'm standing over the grave of soldiers.
Not standing over the grave of soldiers. Again, this man has comprehension issues, and he puts himself into things that's not. First off, well, there were graves. There were graves that we saw some crosses. Fine. He's not in it. He's put himself into a commercial about him because he wanted to make it more about him. The man is insane. And he wants us to believe that he never said it. You know, the guy who called John McCain a loser. He would never call soldiers losers. The one who called a soldier a loser. Who does that? Like, oh, you know what? That's not even about me. I didn't say that. No, I have nothing to do with it. I'm in the video. I'm standing over their grave. They have me dancing. I have, what is it called? A Torin and a yarmulke. And I'm dancing on the graves. And I'm really happy. It's disgusting what they did. He's not in them. Let's jump ahead.
Which was very successfully disputed. They make a television commercial out of it. And I can't do anything from the standpoint of libel because our libel laws are so pathetic. The lawyers,
You know, First Amendment.
good lawyers, they say, sir, they'll throw it out even though you have it 100%, they'll throw it out. So they have this commercial. I see it all the time. I see it with the drug companies.
Sees it all the time. Sees the commercial all the time. He thinks he's in the commercial standing over the graves. But he sees it all the time. And every time. And I think he believes that he's in the commercial. I think he believes that he's in the commercial standing over the graves because he keeps saying this. That's what's going on in his world.
So I did something that nobody thought anybody would ever do because the drug companies are the biggest lobby in the country and they're very powerful, spend hundreds of millions of dollars. They take care of everybody.
That's true.
I executed what's called a favored nations clause. That's a killer. Nobody ever thought I'd do that. I execute. I have the right to do it. Nobody's ever done it. No president's ever done it. That means if Germany's paying 10 cents.
HD, I don't know if he called them suckers and losers. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is that in the article, it says that senior officials in the campaign, of those 27 people that he claims have come out, I think it's actually like 12 that have been listed officially, but of those 27 people, none of them are senior in the campaign. Who would have been? John Kelly. What we do know is that the official statement at that time from the White House is that it caused scheduling conflict. The rain caused scheduling conflicts. And later, Trump has come out and said, I could have gone. I had a clean schedule that day. So the official story right off the bat, and look into this. Don't believe me. Go look this up yourself. The official story was that rain caused scheduling conflicts. And then, I'll show you a website. I will just want to double check. Yeah, I'll show it to you. I'll bring it up over here. Give me a second here. Okay. You can't see it, but I want to zoom in on this because this is a really important website. All this website does is just keep track of the stuff that Trump says. If you want to look up something that Trump said, it's here. This is called FactBase. It's FACTBA.SE. So just put FactBase with a dot before the SE. And they keep track of every word that Trump says publicly, going back years and years. So you can look this up. So again, don't believe me. Learn how to verify things for yourself. On that site, of course, you can use YouTube as well. But anyway, the official word was it caused scheduling conflicts. And then later he said I had a full schedule. There's lying going on. There's lying. And so when they say we have 4 sources, The Atlantic, with its reputable magazine, says I have 4 sources that say this, that he called military personnel losers, when we have him on video calling John McCain a loser. That's the kind of thing he does. Okay, well, it is believable. Do I know that it happened? No, I don't know. Do I know that the Taliban received money from the Russians? Yes, that's been confirmed. Do we know what that money was for? No. Maybe, I don't know, they borrowed money from them at some point because they didn't have enough to get the hot dog at 7-Eleven, and they're like, you know what, let me get that. And the Russians were, okay, I pay you back. You know, it could happen. We don't know. We don't know for sure. But let's use our noggins. Shall we? Bye, Allison.
Cents per pill, and we're paying $3 for the same pill, and you have those kind of differences.
Oh, that's gone up. It used to be $2, and then it was $2.50. So during the last 2 months of his presidency, our prices have increased 50%. Fact check.
As you probably have heard, we get it for 10 cents. We get it for the same as whoever. We're the largest purchaser of prescription drugs in the world by far. So we have certain powers, you know, having that kind of a buying situation. So I executed a favored nations, and I executed a rebate clause where the purchasers get the money back because they have a rebate clause. Right now, the money goes.
Hold on, guys. Thank you, David with Snopes, for sending this in. Wonderful resource, Snopes.com. This is Mike Pompeo in his own words, okay? Talking about the Russian bounties. Mike Pompeo, his own words.
What we've said is this. If the Russians are offering money to kill Americans, or for that matter, other Westerners as well, there will be an enormous price to pay. That's what I shared with Foreign Minister Lavrov. I know our military has talked to their senior leaders as well. We won't brook that. We won't tolerate that. We know that the Russians have armed the Taliban in the past, right? We know that the Iranians continue to arm them today. So we know these facts. We've made clear to each of them our expectations, and we will do everything we need to do to protect and defend every American soldier, and for that matter, every soldier from the Czech Republic or any other country that's part of the Resolute Support Mission, to make sure that they're safe. We have done that. We did it last year. We'll do it again this year, and we'll do it so long as we have soldiers in Afghanistan.
Yeah, so there's a Secretary of State explaining that, yes, we've talked to the Russians about doing this, even though President Trump says it's a hoax. This never happened. Big hoax.
Goes to the wealthiest people have to be, it's called the middleman. You've heard about the middleman for years, right? And right now that money goes to middlemen. Then I executed a third one, that we can buy our drugs from foreign countries, because if we go to Canada, as an example, and buy drugs. I was doing this with Ron DeSantis of Florida.
I've done that.
Great governor from Florida. I said, he came to me, he said, you know, Canada's buying drugs, the same exact drug, a Johnson & Johnson, made in the same plant, everything else, right? Same technicians, everything.
I love the fact that so many people are coming in and discussing because I make more money. And also the monetization is now live on YouTube for me. Sometimes I had to go in there and switch it. It just came on by itself. So I'm happy about this. So good. Thanks for coming by, everybody. I'm making some cash.
Identical. We can buy it in Florida from Canada for 1/2 the price that we have to pay if we buy it from the United States. I said, go ahead and buy it. He said, we can't because the law is against it. So I changed the law. So now Florida...
A president can't change the law. It's not the way it works. Executive order is not a law. It's an order. And Congress ultimately has to change a law. That's just the way it works.
And other states can go to Canada or wherever and buy drugs at a lower price. But soon they won't.
Which would be great, which would be fantastic if it actually was effectual. We have problems with that. And he's right, though. The drug companies they are the biggest lobbying group, for lack of a better word, because I can't think of one, in the country. The pharmaceutical lobby is huge. Why? Because we take so many drugs. What is it, Kevin Lee Kitty? Come here. Tell me about it. Come in here where I can see you. All right. Sorry, guys. Cat's interrupting.
Have to, because when the favored nation kicks in, that's even better, because we're going to get it for lower price. So I see ads in today, Trump is going to raise the price of Medicare. No, just the opposite. It's going to come, things are going to come falling.
Sean, are you asking me a question? Can you leave it posted after it goes off? It stays on my YouTube channel. If you go to youtube.com/KevinLeeFather and then go to live, like if you go to the videos, and then it should be in the live videos. It's really stupid. For whatever reason, YouTube has videos that you post and then live videos. It's on a different tab. So if you can find that live tab, all my live broadcasts, most of my live broadcasts are there. Sometimes they go away by themselves. I don't know why. But anyway, most of my live broadcasts are there. If you're asking that question.
Down. Then I signed a transparency clause so that people can actually go out and bid out. You know, you don't even have the right to go to a drugstore and ask them prices of other drugs. It's the most unbelievable.
Yes, you do. Any drugstore will give you information on pricing of drugs. Of course you do.
Thing.
When was the last time Trump was in a drugstore? Let's be honest. And did he bring his ID so that he could buy the... Come on.
So I got rid of it. And what do I get for it? I get the most incredible advertising campaign I've ever seen, which is all false by the drug company. So the advantage is I have a lot of people on social media, like over 200 million people. And I put out statements. When you see bad ads about me from the drug companies, please remember that means that your drug prices are going to be substantially lowered. And by the way, I'm not talking about like 2%, 1%. And you know, we did something that nobody's done in 53 years.
This is why he went there. He's not talking about 2%, 1%, because in 2018, drug prices did go down by 1%, but not for consumers. For consumers, it actually went up by 6%. But for him, 1%. Let's see if and that's what reminded him to tell, oh yeah, by the first time in 50 years, drug prices went down 1%. Not for you and me, for the middleman that he keeps talking, the rich middleman.
Drug prices have never come down. We got it down last year, where they actually went down. Very little, but they went down.
Okay, very little. Yeah, and it wasn't last year, it was 2 years ago, but okay, fine. Let's not sweat the details.
First time in 53 years. Now, you have a situation where they're going to come down at numbers like...
Keep in mind, Ryan, that it's not 200 million people. Many of them are bots, up to a third. Sometimes, some people say it's a half. But a lot of people follow him on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. I do. Not a fan, but I follow him on all three. You have to add all those numbers together to get to 200 million.
50%, 60%, 70%. But I can see why people...
75, 90, why are Biden lies much more harmful? He's not the president right now. His lies don't mean anything at this point in time. And if you can give us an example of a lie you're talking about, we can talk about it. But you don't make statements that don't have anything backing them up. If you want to be part of the conversation, be part of the conversation.
People didn't do it because the drug companies took me on, and the ads they're putting out are unbelievable. They're totally false, and there's nothing you can do about it. I would love to strengthen up the libel laws. So when the New York Times writes one of many fake stories, you can sue them and have a substantial chance of winning.
I agree with you. And for those people listening,
it's a good point, Benny Tillerman. Trump complains other countries pay less for drugs. They have national health care and negotiate prices. That is correct. And we are actually verboten. There's laws that we can't negotiate prices for Medicare and Medicaid.
That used to be the case until the New York Times versus Sullivan decision in the 1960s, which changed everything and immunized big media.
It's time to relook at that decision.
I agree.
I really believe it's so out of control. We should have the right, when somebody makes a false statement, we should have some right. You have no chance. I mean, they can say anything they want. And if you're famous especially if you're famous. But if you're famous, you have absolutely no chance. There's nothing you can do legally. They should look at that.
He and Melania have sued the press and book authors multiple times. So I don't know why he's saying now. I mean, if he was really serious about it, he would sue. If he had a point, yes, there are libel laws, and yes, you can hold newspapers responsible for what they say. They're sued all the time. But you have to have some sustenance to what you say. This is how we know that Trump is not a multi-billionaire. Because when you sue somebody, you have to go to deposition. And you are asked questions, and you have to answer those questions. And Trump has given away a lot of information after suing people.
We should relook at that. I saw.
Thank you. David with Snopes just says, I'd love for the New York Times to be able to conduct discovery and gather evidence about the things Trump claims are false. And that's why he's not suing them. Because when you sue somebody, then you have to go through something called discovery. Discovery is where the other side gets to say, okay, give us all your email between now and then. Show us the documents here. Unclassify this, etc., etc. And Trump would have to go and he would be deposed, which is being asked questions by lawyers, and he would have to show the evidence that what they're saying is wrong or not, etc. And both sides get to do this. But that's what happens in a trial. Discovery. And we would discover a lot of things about Trump.
Where Clarence Thomas, in an article, said it's time that we relook at Sullivan because it's totally out of control.
I want to ask you about the economy. I have this document, this 110-page manifesto. Massive tax increases. Individual income tax increases, massive corporate tax increases.
Will not affect anybody making less than $400,000 a year. If you make $400,000 or more per year, you might consider voting for Trump. It's up to you. I mean, if you can stand that guy as a human being, plus we just showed you how incredibly stupid he is. But yeah, you're free to vote for Trump if you're making, because you will be paying slightly more in taxes.
Massive capital gains tax increases. Slams the inheritance tax. Have you ever heard of an economy growing and creating jobs by massive taxes? And what would that do?
1950s, 1960s, early 1970s, Bill Clinton's era. Remember, we used to tax the ultra rich at 90%. So it could be 89%. But yeah, so yes, many economies have grown much better. Speaking of economic growth, before the coronavirus, Trump's economy was growing at 2.3%, which is pathetic. 2.3%.
America's competition with the rest of the world when we're driving up prices like this.
So the manifesto is what you're referring to. That's the agreement that Bernie Sanders and AOC and all these people made with Sleepy Joe Biden. Now, I thought it would be their view, and then you're going to go right or toward the center.
So, yeah, and I should amend that as well. Also, if you make more than $400,000, you might consider voting for Trump. If you're making $10,000 or more or a year more than before Trump, because of Trump's tax policies, which he claims the average household is, then vote for Trump. If you've got an extra $10,000 in your pocket at the end of the year because of Trump, you might consider voting for Trump. If you're a racist, you might want to vote for Trump. All of these are factors to consider.
That's the way it normally would work. But it isn't. It's their view, and they went way left. Because Bernie never said half of the things that, I mean, that's far left of where Bernie, I've heard Bernie for a long time, crazy Bernie, and I heard what he said. But that manifesto that Biden agreed to is a disaster, what they have. Also, no fracking. Now he says we're going to frack. Well, he doesn't say it very strongly, but he says we're going to frack. But you notice what's happening? He's losing the left now because...
I noticed the way you said nerdist. Hold on, what?
But that manifesto that Biden agreed to is a disaster, what they have. Also, no fracking. Now he says we're going to frack. Well, he doesn't say it very strongly, but he says we're going to frack. But you notice what's happening? He's losing the left.
Did you guys notice that? I did. What is that? Give me a time here. 23:36.
Now, because he's saying things like he never mentions the word law and order. All of this crime, all of this problem, whether it's Chicago or Portland.
One moment. I want to check something here. Oh my goodness. I have so much work to do, guys. I will never catch up to this. I want to go back on what he said here.
Portland's just strongly, but he says we're going to frack. But you notice what's happening? He's losing the left now because he's saying things like he never mentions the word law and order.
Those are 3 words.
All of this crime, all of this problem, whether it's Chicago or Portland, Portland's a different, that's sort of an anarchist thing. We could put that down so quickly. Minutes, literally minutes, like we did in Minneapolis. What we did in Minneapolis was incredible. But, you know,
National Guard.
we sent them in. They had that thing put out in a half an hour. It was the end of it. It was over
They were called in by the governor, but
in a half an hour. Portland would be easier. We could do that so fast. We did it in Seattle by saying we're going in the next morning, and then everybody cleared out.
that's completely false. There's absolutely, the Seattle government has completely denied that Trump had said he was going in the next morning. It's complete nonsense.
And essentially, they cleared out because they knew we were going in the next morning. I just said, we're going in, I don't care.
He didn't. He did not say that.
And everyone...
There would be a record of this if he said that. There isn't. I mean, when does he say things that we don't hear about?
One of these cities that has problem is run by Democrats.
We'll be right back.
And we will skip ahead.
And to oppose the president's upcoming nominee, but President Trump not backing.
Here we go.
Run by the Democrats. They're a disaster.
Every one of them.
They're a disaster. You look at this coronavirus, the Democrats are now campaigning against a vaccine.
They are not. No Democrats are campaigning against the vaccine. What the Democrats are campaigning against is believing Trump on anything vaccine related.
Democrat governors forced corona-positive patients in nursing homes, caused a significant death toll. You look at...
Tyson, tell me why I'm a joke. Please share if you have something. The way we work in our chat room, all are welcome. Bring your opinions, but tell us why. Do some thought to it. That's what this conversation is about. It's a conversation. We're not just spouting out idiocies and idioms. Oh, good. There's another fire in the distance. Fantastic. I'm in California right now, and right now I'm hot, and I don't know that it's the weather. Yeah, looks like we got a new fire over the hills. Good times.
California, as you've talked about, they won't manage their forests and their timber areas. They've been told.
Their farce?
Democrat governors forced corona-positive patients in nursing homes, caused a significant death toll. You look at California.
But not 40%, like you said. Nowhere close.
As you've talked about, they won't manage their forests and their timber areas. They've been told.
Farsed. Where's he from? I've heard people say that, but is he Kansas? Is he somewhere like that?
For decades to do it, they won't. Democrats, they blame you for what's going on in...
By the way, here in California, for example, the fire that I'm looking at right now, as we speak, I'm seeing a huge smoke plume in the distance. That fire, that's federal land. 57% of the forest in California is controlled by the federal government. That's Trump. You want to talk about forest management? Yes! Manage the forest. Everybody is pro-forest management. The fire I'm looking at out my window right now, federal fire. Federal management. But oh boy, gotta attack the governors. 3%. 3%. 57% federal.
Democrat cities, they blame you for what's going on in Democrat states. They attack you for coming up with a vaccine that will soon be out quicker than anybody else. What exactly is it that they would do about the rioting? If they don't support the National Guard and federal authorities, if they're not going to do the kind of...
Are we still having riots in Portland? By the way, I'm anti-riot. I'll come right out and say it. I know that's controversial, but I'm not in favor of violence. But are they still having riots? Were there riots in Portland last night? I didn't even hear about it.
Management of the timber areas that you need to do. If they're not in favor of a vaccine, what exactly does this party stand for?
So let's just look. I just left, as you know, California. I met with the governor, and he, and honestly, he's been very nice with the words, and that's good. But I said, you gotta manage this. It's a management thing. He said, no, it's global warming. But I said, when the leaves build up and you have a floor of leaves, and the trees fall down.
No, what Governor Newsom said is, hey, 50% of the land is yours, buddy. How about you take care of it? I may have to evacuate?
And you don't...
Literally during this broadcast, the neighborhood's on fire, and we're having earthquakes. Trump 2020!
remove them because the environmentalists don't want you to touch the tree. Within 18 months, that tree gets to be like a matchstick. It gets to be unbelievably flammable. And I meet with foreign leaders of countries, and they have an expression, sir, we are a forest nation. But they say,
This is Finland, by the way.
We have trees that are far more explosive than the trees in California.
Explosive?
We don't understand how a thing like that can happen.
I'm watching trees right now explode over there. It's like fireworks. It's great. It's like a celebration of America.
You have to manage your forest. They have to do cuts. And they sell those trees for a lot of money, but they have to do cuts.
That's good information. Okay, at random, let us know. Portland halted protests due to fires. Plan to resume Friday. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to protest and riot and breathe at the same time up there.
In between sections, so that if there's a fire over here, it doesn't burn down 500,000 acres, because you have a cut, and they water that cut very strongly, and the fire can't go. You know, it's the width of a football field or whatever, or less. I mean, frankly, or much less. But you have cuts, but they don't do that because the environmentalists.
Yeah, I must be like, somebody must have listed me on Twitter in a Levin chat room or something like that. Let's bring that up because that's exciting for me. Hold on. Here we go. We'll find it. Give me a second. Let's listen to him.
Don't want them to do it. When a tree comes down, you have to take that tree out immediately, because when it first comes down, it's wet from sucking up the water. But then it gets very dry. Then it gets really dry. Then it starts to rot, and then it catches on fire. But the leaves, you have to do something about it. You can't have leaves that are so dry. Somebody takes a cigarette, they throw it in. That's the end of 400,000 acres. And it costs billions of dollars, and we want to help that.
Oh,
but you get really angry about it after a while, and they don't want to hear about it. They don't want to talk about management. They had an interesting man at the meeting. I guess he was a professor, and he was at the table.
Yeah, they water it strongly with sharp water. I'll show you.
And he was their person. And he said, sir, you happen to be 100% right about management. I do this. I've been doing it for many years. I mean, we could create an area which is almost impossible for it to catch fire.
It's important under Trump that we now have the sharpest air and water in the world, and I can prove that.
We have among the cleanest and sharpest, crystal clean, you've heard me say it, I went crystal clean, air and water anywhere on Earth.
Yep. The sharpest air and water anywhere on the Earth, and we're using it strongly. Fact, people.
But it's forest management, and it's so sad. You know, in California, they have tremendous...
Again, federal land. Federal land is on fire, but it's forest management, and it's so sad. It is. Jesus Christ. I might have to pack a bag here, kids.
Amounts of water pouring down from the north.
It hasn't. It's a distance away here. It's probably 5 miles from here, I'm guessing. From where am I? Where am I? What do now? But what could mean is that if it crests that hill, I might start packing some stuff.
You look at it, and
no, I'm. This is hyperbole. It's a good distance away from. I mean, it's 5-6 miles. I'll find out how far away it is.
They have.
Oh, and then of course the fire could be just on the other side of the mountains. It could be 20 miles on the other side of the mountain.
No water.
It's fine. I get a text if there's anything going on that I need to know about.
And they're going to ration for everybody. And all they have to do is let the water come down. You know what they do with the water? They send it out into the Pacific Ocean. They have this massive valve up north.
That's what happens. It's called the water cycle. Yeah, it goes to the ocean. And you know what they do with the water then? They evaporate it from the ocean. And you know what it becomes? It becomes clouds. And then it gets to the point where the water is too heavy, the moisture content is too heavy, and then they just let it rain. They let it rain down on me. I wish it would rain now.
And as the water comes pouring down from the snow and it all
No, it's fine. There's a lot of distance between me and the fire right now.
beautiful, nice, clean water, they send it
Sharp water.
down because there's a tiny little fish
Yeah.
that they're trying to save that's doing very
Right.
poorly, by the way. I think
Oh.
it's a smelt. Tiny little fish.
Oh,
Doing
no.
very poorly, doing much worse now without the water. I mean,
Tell me more about this guppy. I want to know more. What's his name? Is it Nemo? It's Nemo, isn't it? He's doing very poor. He can't find his parents. He meets a turtle and he goes to Australia. 56 Wallaby Way, Sydney.
I don't know,
Is it 42 Wallaby Way? What is it? Somebody knows that. P. Sherman. I've never seen Finding Nemo. I've never actually seen the movie, but I've heard it 800 times because my kids had it on video in the minivan, and they would just watch it over and over again. One of the best movies of all time, and I know that because my kids would watch it endlessly.
I think you'll do better with the water, but they have this massive valve, and they turn this massive, takes a whole day to turn it, and all
42 Wallaby Way, Sydney. Thank you.
that water comes, and it comes pouring, and you know where it goes? Into the Pacific. But Kevin McCarthy
Wow.
sees me, says, do you think you could work on the water? We can't get any water for the farms, for this. And you drive through these farm
Where's this massive valve that he's talking about? What? I've been up and down the coastline of California, and I think he thinks there's like a 3 football field wide valve that somebody turns on at some point. This massive valve. There are valves in California. That is true. I don't know about a massive valve somewhere.
areas where I have been. You have this beautiful patch of little green.
Yeah.
And I'd say, why is this beautiful patch and why is everything else like just barren, horrible? They say,
Like my son.
we don't have any water. Why? Do you have a drought?
Sorry, I take that back. I should not. He's a minor. I should involve him in it. I should have said, like my publicist, John Barron. So substitute that. Somebody go edit that.
No. Well, why don't you have water? Because
Okay, this is Sarah Cooper territory right here. I haven't seen Sarah put anything out in the last couple of weeks.
it's sent out into the Pacific. I said, why? He said, state and federal regulations.
Hey, Dr. Howard, good to see you.
I said, I will solve the federal problem. Department of Commerce. I had it solved within a month.
Were there people crying? Were there big, tough people crying when you solved it?
Got rid of every obligation. All we need is one signature from the governor. And we're talking about now Los Angeles, goes all the way down to Los Angeles. Los Angeles, you can't even water your grass. You're not allowed to water your grass. They have a whole
I am in Los Angeles. I water my grass. That's my job. The wonderful, what do I call them? The proprietors. The wonderful proprietors who are allowing Kevin Lee Daughter and myself to use part of their residence as our abode. One of my responsibilities, it's not really responsibility, I just said I'll take care of it, is that I do water the grass. And it's almost on a nightly basis, especially when it gets really hot like this. You wait until the sun goes down, you water 15 minutes. But yeah, we are allowed to water our grass in Los Angeles. I can guarantee you that.
home for $25 million.
What we do is we open up the giant valve.
They can't water the grass. So I said, so why?
What? Let's go back on that. I missed
Signature
one.
from the governor.
Yeah.
And we're talking about now Los Angeles, goes all the way down to Los Angeles. Los Angeles, you can't even water your grass. You're not allowed to water your grass.
I'm not?
They have a home for $25 million. They can't water the grass.
This home is not worth $25 million, but maybe only the expensive homes can't water their. It might be $25 million. It's Los Angeles. I don't know.
So I said, so why would you do this? They don't even know why. It is the smelt, but it's probably other reasons. So I'm saying to myself, I got them all. The hard one is the federal permits. I got it all done. It was all taken care of. The federal
Taken care of.
permits, we have no problem, right?
Yeah.
But I say, why aren't they doing this? And we just can't get the governor to sign it. You would have so much water in California. You'd be able, all those fields that are open. I mean, I've never seen anything. You drive it down the highway and everything's like really terrible looking. And then you'll have this gorgeous patch of green. That's the only area they have the water. They're allowed like this tiny amount of water. That whole thing could be farmland, but they send the water out into the Pacific Ocean.
You know, as
A long story, but there are many, many stories like that. The stupidity of it all.
It was a long story.
In these different areas. You're not an ideologue. It's common sense.
Common sense.
From your own experience. I'm listening. We'll be right back.
A lot of commercials.
I think this is why, you know, this 110-page document, where they want to make America California, and you're saying no, no, no. You're the one who stands in the way.
I've always said there's too many states.
I'm a journalist. I'm an advocate for my country, for my Constitution, for my family, for my liberty. I don't pretend to sit here and be a journalist and take cheap shots at the President of the United States. But I am concluding, just from listening to you, you're an enormous danger to the left, the Democrat Party, and their mouthpieces in the media. That's
And the American people. Remember, 200,000 dead.
my opinion. AOC, and these are regressive leftists, and they'll use the environment, they'll use race, they'll use immigration, they'll use whatever they have to use, in Mark's opinion, and you're in the way. So under every circumstance, you have to be removed.
It's a great word you use, and maybe that does explain it, because the word regressive, you seldom hear that word, almost never. I haven't heard that word in a long time, regressive.
The word itself is regressive.
So they really are regressive. And I used to say, we'll be another Venezuela, but I never really, I don't know that I believed it fully.
Kyle, I did read part of Liberty and Tyranny.
That wasn't too long ago, but I do. We could be, if that kind of stuff gets put in, we will be another Venezuela, except on major steroids, okay? You know, a major case of it. There's so many things you can do. There's so many things that are so good that cost less, and it's better for the people. I look at these horrible, they're not protests, they're riots, okay? They're riots. These people are running around, they're on top of each other.
This is beautiful, by the way, because Trump likes to call the Biden platform a manifesto. Here's the title of Mark Levin's book that was just referred to us, right there. Liberty and Tyranny, a conservative manifesto. So you'll notice that Mark just called it a document. Trump's like, oh, you're talking about the manifesto? No, I'm not. Don't call it manifesto.
They're stepping each other on each other's face. They're rioting like crazy, and nobody complains. The Democrats don't complain about it. It's a.
I'm not a Democrat, but I complain about the riots all the time. That's all I hear is people complaining about the riots. I've never had anybody go like, hey, you know what we should do? We should riot. It's very few people.
It's incredible. You look at, in every instance, they say, well, you're the president of everybody. I say that's true. But we want to clean it up. We want to make it better. And if you can't do it because it's a Democrat city, look at Chicago, where 58 people were shot.
I don't have time to explain why we're in debt.
This isn't like where there was a fight. This is where shot, right? Shot. And now the reports are 58 people were shot this weekend in Chicago. 10 died. Okay, let's get on to the weather. How's the weather? They've gotten almost used to it. 58 people. So we're pulling out of Afghanistan.
200,000 people. But yes, Trump has been saying since he got into office in 2017, I'm going to send people in there and fix Chicago. And then he did recently. Hasn't fixed Chicago. Has not fixed the gun problem in Chicago.
As you know, we're very close to getting out. We'll soon be down to only 4,000 soldiers. And we're really more of a police force than we are anything else. You know, we're like a police force. And we're not supposed to be a police force over there. We should be a police force over here. So we're doing a lot.
We should not be a police force over here. That is, he does not understand what that expression means. That is, I mean, that would be like tear gassing your own people. Oh.
Things and a lot of people.
Why is this even a race? Why do we even have to have this election? He tear gassed Americans, not rioters, peaceful protesters, including the media. He tear gassed them so that he could go take a picture with a Bible in front of a church. Why are we having this discussion?
About foreign policy before
yes,
I run out
please.
of time. 275 generals and admirals.
Yeah.
I mean generals and admirals signed a letter
Generals and admirals.
endorsing you for president of the United States.
Okay. Yeah.
None of them, to my knowledge, have gotten any media attention. They go to the same 4, 5, 6, 7 ex-generals on the record and off the record who criticize you, but not the 275. And I read what they say and I listen to what they say and they attack your character and your ability. That's not correct. They really had policy disagreements with you. So I want to talk about foreign policy briefly.
First of all, I was very honored to get that endorsement because I didn't know it was coming. I get along great with the generals. Don't forget, I spent $2.5 trillion to rebuild our military. Our military was in terrible shape. All built in the USA, by the way. It's very nice, okay?
He said it was 245 generals. It is 8 4-star generals or admirals and 42 3-star generals or admirals. You know, so 50, 245. But here.
But you have to see the submarines that we have. Most powerful weapon on Earth. We have the most powerful weapons on Earth. Nobody is even close. We have weapons, and I said this the other day. It was very interesting. I said, we have weapons so incredible, so powerful, so advanced that President Xi of China, Putin, everybody, they'd be so jealous. You know what I was greeted with? Did he violate confidentiality?
Is this like the tremendous health care that we're going to have by the end of August or in 2 weeks? You know, he's already said that he's going to announce the replacement. It'll be Amy for Ruth Bader Ginsburg this week. I was really hoping he was going to say in the next couple of weeks, in about 2 weeks. And then we would just never have it, like the health care.
Did he violate classified information? He said no. What
I'm not sure what violating classified information means, but okay.
I said is we have the greatest weapons because I got them done. We have the greatest weapons.
Any weapons done during Trump's administration were started long before Trump's administration. You don't just invent weapons in a year. That's not the way it works at all.
But when you talk about I call it the super duper missiles, the one that goes 7 times faster. We have one that now goes
It was 17 times faster the last time he said it, so I don't know what happened.
much faster than that. But we've rebuilt our military, and you need it when you look at China, when you look at Russia, and I think to a lesser extent, I think China is the bigger problem. They don't, it doesn't fit the narrative with me. It's always Russia, Russia, Russia. I say, what about China? They don't want to talk about China. You know, this very dishonest person named Adam Schiff, Shifty Schiff.
Yeah.
You can have a meeting, talk about China.
Yeah.
He'll leave the meeting and leak that Russia's stealing our election, okay? Russia's stealing our election. Nobody has been tougher on Russia than I have with the sanctions and everything else.
I mean, Ronald Reagan. Like, how can you say that and have any grasp of history whatsoever?
And I guarantee you that in closed doors, Putin says that to his people. But getting along with people isn't the worst thing either. Getting along with Russia, Now, China caused a problem because this whole China virus has caused a big problem. We signed a great trade deal. We're doing phenomenally well with the trade deal. We're taking in massive tariffs from China, which nobody ever charged. China never paid us 10 cents.
China doesn't pay tariffs.
Tens of millions. They gave $28 billion of that money to farmers and had tremendous amounts of money left over. But China is a problem because of what happened with this whole situation. But you would think they'd be really happy with the job we're doing, and they're not. But a lot of people are.
We'll be right back.
Okay.
We destroyed ISIS.
You and your generals and your you took a track that nobody supported, including General Mattis, including John Bolton.
Whoa, Dr. Howard, you were in a coma. Well, that was rude. Could have let us know. Wow, slacker. Good to have you back, in all seriousness. You're reeling over RGB. We all are, and we were looking for you. We did a little broadcast about that. We were looking for you in there. But I still don't want the money that I paid in Social Security and Medicare to be flushed down the toilet. I do not want any money flushed down the toilet because I'm the one who's going to have to roto-rooter that shit.
And peace is now breaking out in the Middle East. ISIS has been destroyed.
Kyle, we're not on the brink of bankruptcy. That's not the way the finances work at all.
We destroyed ISIS.
You and your generals
And
your
when we
military.
took over, ISIS was all over the place.
Taxing the rich is a solution to many, many, many problems. You have to take a look at the disparity of how people actually control wealth in this country. And the rich, 400,000 and above, have a lot of money.
Over. That's
I know you did, Dr. Howard, but not while you were in the coma itself.
Biden and Obama, they basically left it. And the inhumanity that was taking place has come to an end. The rape and the torture and the brutality, the murder, you would see it on the internet every night. You don't see it anymore. You have
I do not want to watch the stuff that he watches on Pornhub.
Muslim Arab countries making peace with Israel. I was here the other day when that took place.
Kyle, for the United States to go bankrupt, all the countries would have to go bankrupt. Yes, during Trump's administration, our credit rating has actually gone down. That has happened. That's the first time that's ever happened for the United States. But we still have credit because we still generate a lot of income. And we will continue being able to borrow to record levels under Trump, by the way. Trump drove the deficit up 50% after Obama left. And far more now. This is before, I'm being generous here. The fact of the matter is the coronavirus happened. It's real. It affected the economy, and it's still affecting the economy. But it's not even fair, because fair would just be including the coronavirus, where we are today. Let's take the coronavirus out of it, just to make it interesting. Record levels under Trump. Deficit driven up 50% under Trump. GDP only 2.3% under Trump. Manufacturing in contraction under Trump. Job growth slowing under Trump. Farm debt record under Trump. Farm bankruptcies record under Trump. But the United States itself, the full faith and credit of it is fine because we generate more wealth than all the other countries out there. And we will continue to have our credit extended, whether that be from China or Japan or the World Bank or whomever. People will be happy to lend us money because we pay it back. And now, is that good? No, that's not good. Because it's our great-grandchildren that are going to be paying this off at some point. So far, it hasn't happened. You, me, and a dog named Boo all owe $75,000.
Nobody thought that could happen. So I'm watching NBC and Andrea Mitchell the other day, and 3/4 of her coverage was, well, we don't have a general peace, the Palestinians are left out. Just to you, if the Palestinians want to participate, they're free to participate, are they
Well,
not?
they'll come in, 100%. Normally you don't like to say things because they'll come in. So they took this path, which led to blood.
Normally, you don't like to say things, but yeah, the Palestinians are going to come in. This whole thing they've had for all these years about the settlements and blah, 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 they'll come in.
All over the sand, millions of people killed. We spent $8 trillion in the Middle East, okay? $8 trillion. They were never going to get anywhere. The Iran deal was a disaster. By the way, with the Iran deal, you could have never done these deals. You could have never done it because of the deal. Gave $150 billion plus $1.8 billion in cash. $1.8 billion. People can't even imagine it. They did such a bad deal. They were so bad. John Kerry was so inept. He is so incompetent. He negotiated a deal. They won every point. He would never get up and leave. Sometimes you have to get up and leave. You would know that better.
Okay, 30 different countries were involved in said deal, and they're all on board except the United States.
Better than anybody. Sometimes you'll say, I'm sorry, we can't make a deal. Goodbye. And they'll call you back. Because we have all the cards. We do have all the cards. People just
No, I got that, Todd. I just decided to throw boo in at the end there.
don't know that. This was
And you're all like, boo!
the stupidest deal. And it made it impossible to do anything. So I terminated that deal. Iran is...
It did not make it impossible to do anything. There were enforcements built into the deal. And Trump's all like, the other countries
a different country.
involved in the deal.
That's not to say they're not violent and vicious, but they're poor. Their GDP went down 27%, which is a record setter in history. Nobody's ever heard of a 27% drop. And I'm not looking to do that. I'd like them to be strong again, but they cannot have a nuclear
Ours was 33% in the last quarter. 33% drop.
weapon.
32.9 is 32. Oh, okay. We'll go with your figure then. 32.9% drop in GDP.
They cannot have a nuclear weapon. And it's not too much
Hold on, Kyle. What are you arguing 10th Amendment wise? What's for the states?
to ask. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. But John Kerry, the deal he made was so incompetent. I terminated it. And after I terminated it, good things started to happen. Number one, they didn't have money. So they're not giving money to every terrorist group all over the world because they don't have it. And the terrorist groups are very angry at them. But they're starting to break up because they don't have any money. Iran was giving them massive amounts of money, including the $150 billion that we gave them. Plus, I got Saudi Arabia and others to sort of hold back because they were also there was a lot of money going to a lot of bad people. We watch it very closely. Those people are breaking up. They don't have the same. Now, do they have money to do mischief and really bad mischief? Absolutely, because it doesn't cost very much money. And we're watching. We put out a statement the other day. They talk about assassinating people from the United States representatives. I said, that's okay. But if you do that, we're going to hit you with a force 1,000 times bigger than you've ever been hit before. And it's true.
We'll be right back.
We're almost done here, kids.
Judge that we had, I thought he was the statements he made were fantastic. I will say this, John Bolton was a very stupid person. If I listened to John Bolton, we'd be in World War V right now. If we listened to John McCain, we would have been in
Kyle, the states could never afford that. It's not the way it works, especially the states without an income tax.
World War V right now.
Education, yes, that's already built into the property taxes. But healthcare-wise, there's just absolutely no way the states could afford that. And because we've got 50 different countries, you'd have each state coming up with their own little solution. And yeah, you would have, if that came to being, you would have people leaving some states in droves, not just for drops, but just to get out of the taxation of it. Not just very rich people like Trump, because we've seen his taxes. I saw a hero. We've been because we're covering Levin here. He's got an army of followers, and I think word got out there, and we've had some fun.
If I disagree with Mattis very much. He was fired by President Obama. He was fired like a dog. He was fired, but I said that wasn't necessarily a bad thing.
Where do I suggest that we look LP? You said, where do I look for stats on GDP and the debt, etc.? So one of the cool things that covers the debt, we'll cover this quickly because we're almost done here, and I want to watch me some feetball. The World Debt Clock is a great place for all of that information. Debt clock, there we go. Debt calculator, U.S. national debt clock right there. They have world ones and then they have U.S. national ones. Right now, as you can see, debt per citizen is $81,000. It's insane. And then you can go to state debt clocks, world debt clocks, a lot of great information there. In terms of GDP, you can look up your GDP ratio right here at usdebtclock.org. GDP is all measured if you go to both BLS, that'll give you the unemployment statistics. Census.gov gives you lots of great statistics as well. But if you just type in any of these on Google, go to a reputable source, one you've heard of before. Even if you were to go to Fox News, they actually do publish real numbers. If you go to, I can't even think of an example right now. Real Eagle Freedom News.SSY. They'll just make up whatever stats. Like Mark Levin saying that 40% of the deaths from COVID are because governors sent people back to nursing homes. All right, back at it. Almost done, guys.
Because I disagreed with Obama, so maybe he would be good with me. He failed with ISIS. I then got...
Trump called him Beijing Biden one time, and it hasn't stuck. He doesn't call him that anymore. He goes back to Sleepy Joe. Slow Joe really works, and for whatever reason, he rarely uses it.
Got the guys that I wanted, and we did a great job on ISIS. We got rid of that problem, so it was 100% of the caliphate. Remember, I wanted to pull everybody out?
You're all right, too, Kyle. I appreciate the discussion, not just the Mega 2020.
98%. And they said, sir, you have to finish it. I said, all right, let's finish. We finished it. I have great generals.
He's bragging that he wasn't going to finish the ISIS caliphate. He just wasn't going to do it. Sir, you have to, the generals, sir, you have to finish with the ISIS. And he's like, all right, fine, finish ISIS. What sense is that? Why is he bragging about not wanting to finish ISIS?
We have great, you don't read about them. You only read about Mattis.
And no, it is not tax deductible. Do not tell anybody that donations to me are tax deductible. But if you go to kevinlyfather.com, I am not a registered 501c, but to kevinlyfather.com, you can sign up to become a patron. For those of you watching for the first time, this is what we do. We chat and yell truth to power. And if you'd like to support this broadcast, give us a thumbs up, because today has been an experience. 60 thumbs down, 32 thumbs up. And I think that means something on the YouTube. They actually grade me, and my revenue is dependent upon those. But maybe increased viewership because the trolls have been in here tonight. Maybe that helps. I don't know. It's all algorithms. I blame Vice President Al Gore for all of it.
So...
Yeah, Biden is the choice of every other country except Russia. Of course. Because he's an actual leader with predictable habits that when he says something, he's going to stand by his word. Trump, you have no fucking idea what's going to happen next. So yes, China is in favor of Biden. Every country, with the possible exception of Russia and maybe North Korea, in favor of Biden. Russia is actively working to try and to get Biden to elect Trump right now as we speak. Our intelligence, including FBI Director Christopher Wray, who was nominated by President Trump, said just Thursday or Friday that yes, Russia is actively attacking our country in terms of the election right now. Russia, they prefer Trump.
We got rid of them. We have a great team of people, but we've rebuilt our military to a level that nobody has any understanding how great it is. All brand new, beautiful stuff, and plenty of stuff coming.
I want to thank you for all this time.
No, I don't. Okay, so that's it for Sunday night. I'm going to go watch some feetball, guys. Here are some new credits. You guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and we'll yell at you later.
Kevin, thanks for that.